And welcome to Module 8, CSS Web Page Composition. The purpose of this video is to introduce you to Module 8 and what we'll be talking about. Web pages, we've so far talked about typography and how to sort of lay out some of the information, but now we're going to get into how we're going to compose the page and how we're going to arrange those sectional elements so that we now have them designated and we start to make an arrangement for that page. Upon completion of this module, let's look at the learning objectives, you'll be able to use CSS to create web compositions. Web compositions are layouts by arranging the sectional elements while still maintaining the semantic meanings, which is the markup, of the content. You'll be able to specify dimensions of the different sectional elements using CSS, and you'll be able to explain the flow behavior of CSS layouts as well as float elements using CSS to arrange the compositions. Now it's going to start getting interesting with what we're doing here. So what we're going to see here is we have lessons 1 and 2. Then we're going to talk here for a little bit about composition strategies on how we do some of this stuff. And then we have lessons 3 and 4, fixed and fluid layouts. And then after that, we then have the next assignment, which is assignment 2, which is then applying the page we did earlier with HTML. We're now going to add CSS to it. In lesson 1, we're going to specify what those sectional elements are. We're going to first talk what are box dimensions. And without going through it too much, it may seem a little odd, but everything that you have, all of your sectional elements, are somewhat in a box. They're in a rectangle. And you have to specify whether you want padding for it, do you want a border, do you want margins on it. And what this does is arranges how either the images or the images in the text sit within that box, and so that they're all arranged on the page. In lesson 2, we sort of talk about what the principle is of CSS floating, how things float. We have all these boxes that are on a page, and as the screen, the browser window, expands, so will these boxes move. And that's something you have to consider as you're building the page. Then we start getting into these instructional strategies. This is where this idea of the pages moving comes into importance. You have a fixed layout to where we could actually build like a wrapper or a container into which these boxes could sit. Then these boxes would always stay a certain size so that no matter how the browser shrunk down, the boxes would still stay where they are. The problem is when they stay the same size, if you looked it onto a different size screen, different browser screen, you may not be able to see the entire page. That's where the fluid layout makes it to where it will expand and be able to look good. Later on, we'll be talking about media queries. And media queries will work with this fluid layout so that when it shrinks, it will adjust so that it still looks good whether it's on a mobile phone or on a large desktop. And then we'll get into assignment number 2, which is where you'll take your first page, which was called index HTML, and then you'll start adding an external style sheet, and you'll start dealing with the typography to make it look good, and sort of stylize it with color and with typography. And these will be the areas that we're going to talk about, or that'll be covered within this assignment. The CSS syntax, the typography, the use of color, and then basic web composition. And again, this is the first step. Each step we go along here, we'll get a little bit more detail in what we do with the page. Okay? Good luck.